welcome to Bend the Knee, a Song of Ice and Fire podcast. I am Sir Matt the Bud Knight.
And I am Sir Ezra the Watchful. Welcome to our Song of Ice and Fire book club. Welcome to Season 8.
Woo, man.
Jesus.
Oh, my gosh, man. It is here.
Dude.
The build-up was so immense.
Right.
Yeah, today's episode is going to be obviously kind of different because we're just kind of reacting about the episode.
Right.
You know, we're going to do, I think, a quick little kind of spoiler-free, just kind of reaction.
Sure.
Sir Ezra, I think maybe before we do that, though, I mean, how did you kind of prepare yourself today, man? I know you're currently at Star Wars Celebration, so tell people about where you're at even right now.
Dude, security just basically came in and said, "Hey, man, we need you to step out of this conference room because we're getting it ready for the producers of Star Wars, Mandalorian tomorrow." I was like, "What?" I was like, "Okay." So I step out, I'm like moving around. So I'm out in the hallway now. So if I sound a little echoey, I apologize.
That's okay.
It's not best quality, but hey, I literally took a couple hours. I stepped out of Celebration. I left early. I did some research. I started meditating. I mean, dude, I locked myself away in a room. A bunch of people wanted to watch it with me. They wanted to have a watch party. I'm like, I can't.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I had to sit down and just focus, I mean, so anyways, yeah, I'm in Chicago, Star Wars Celebration. Shout out to everybody here. It's been awesome. It's been fantastic. But dude,
you've met some people.
Here.
You've met some people there.
Oh my
God! People have come up and said like, "Hey, you're Sir Ezra." Yeah.
Dude, shout out to everybody who I have met at the convention. Dude, Sir Matt, I'm walking by and like one guy literally bows his head and literally says to me, "Winter is coming." Yeah. And just walks on by. And I'm like, who the hell was that? Like,
oh, man, that's so
there's
awesome.
no reason at a Star Wars convention someone should do that to me. You know what I'm saying? Unless they know who the hell I am. I was just like, this is
it's
bonkers.
Awesome.
So,
it's awesome, yeah.
So winter is here. I mean, it's on everyone's mind,
I know.
So it's such a great time right now, man. It's just such a great time.
Oh, man, today, it's been kind of a chill day for me. I was just like, last night I was just kind of like, we're 24 hours away. It's coming. Right. And then I woke up today and, I just did my standard kind of Sunday things. I was like, I'm going to go to the grocery store, going to do this. And, just did my things. And then I'm just like, okay, it's time. And so I started watching some very specific scenes to, to get me ready. Just started looking at the group. Everyone's just going nuts in there.
Yeah.
And then I watched all of the Lyanna Rhaegar stuff. And I was like, that's what I want to see. That's what I want to get ready. Watch my, my favorite scene is Arya and the Hound. I'm gonna eat all the chickens in this place, just because it's so funny. But my favorite, obviously, badass scene is Jon Snow, King of the North, where he gets crowned King of the North. And so I watched that.
Yeah.
And with five, it ended right as we're getting ready to go. And then I posted a quick little thing in the group where I'm just like, I just love you guys. It's awesome. It's here. I feel like we're marching into battle. And I'm so glad to have you all with us. And so it's so epic, so awesome. So then I watched it. I think you and I watched it. I didn't want to watch it on my big computer monitor. I was like, I just want to sit in a dark room and watch it on it on my phone. I don't know why, but that's just the route I went, and it was awesome. Headphones on, so I would hear a thing. I had a little notepad. I was just kind of scribbling some stuff, but I didn't want to miss anything. So we may do. We've been talking about we're gonna have probably Follow-Up Friday or something like that during the season, and where we can kind of speculate, because there was. I just briefly watched the next episode teaser. Really going to need to watch that again before I feel like I could even analyze it. And I really want to watch this episode again to kind of absorb more, So Sir Ezra, you did the same thing too, didn't you? You kind of watch it on your phone?
I mean, yeah, I basically just got, on my phone. I avoided that watch party because of the distractions, and I just wanted to gather my thoughts. And then, I also had a notepad. I wrote down literally what I thought were 2 or 3 of the most important things, and that's it. I didn't want to go, super in depth. This is literally, we just finished watching it. Let's be honest. We just literally 5 minutes ago it ended, and we got together and we're recording. So it's just literally an initial reaction. So nothing real, no deep analysis yet or anything. That'll come, as Sir Matt said, on Follow-Up Friday.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, so let's do a very just kind of brief spoiler-free kind of review. Like, won't even really kind of talk about anything. I guess, Sir Ezra, like, what did you think? How did it go?
Yep.
Did it go kind of the way you thought?
Yeah. Well, I think what I would like to talk about just real quickly is like my feelings. I mean, I'm sitting there, and I hope everyone feels the same way. Like, we started this, so long ago. I mean, like a decade ago, and it's like, I actually thought back to I was leaving some of my buddies today, and the reason I wanted to go just get away by myself is I was like, Sir Matt and I years ago,
I know,
sat in your bedroom, as we were younger, we were
Squires.
young,
weren't even hedge knights.
Squires. We weren't even hedge knights. We hadn't been knighted yet.
Yeah.
And it's like we discovered so many things, and we've learned so much. And so my feelings going into this were just like, I was so emotional, dude. I was so emotional, and it was just great. So, but overall, I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed the setup here. A lot of stuff, and this is again non-spoiler, that we saw in the trailer, we saw in this first episode. So. Yeah. I mean, which was cool. It actually gave me a lot of hope. I'm like, oh, we're seeing a lot of stuff from the trailer. There's so much more to come then. There's so much they didn't show us. It made me feel good that the trailer didn't spoil anything.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'll say, man, same thing. I was just like, it's here, man. It's the end. But the episode I was really actually shocked with the episode. A lot of the stuff we saw in the trailer I thought would happen like episodes 2 or 3. This episode did everything. It did a lot of what I said. It would be a lot of staging.
Sure. Yep.
And there were a lot of reunions, and I thought that the reunions all were very cool. I thought there was also, I was surprised at how much comedy was in this episode, which makes me so nervous about the episodes because I feel like they're just going to get dark real fast.
They're trying to get it. But
there was a lot of comedy in this episode and all of the reunions.
Right.
There wasn't really then there was one thing we'll talk about, which I thought was happening in episode like 3. Like the big reveal, right? I was like, whoa, that did not go the way I expected it.
No, me neither. Me neither.
Yeah, other than that, everything went pretty much as you and I had talked about in that episode, the prediction episode we did. And we've talked about episode 1 a little bit and stuff. I think it went almost exactly the way we thought. I mean, So let's kind of jump into spoilers here. Should we do it? Do you want to do it? Do you want to do kind of just a brief kind of rundown of what happened and then just kind of go?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would just say major spoilers here, so no one gets pissed.
Complete spoilers. Yeah. So. Okay, so I'm just gonna quickly go through, and then we can kind of go back. So this is kind of the basic things of what I saw. We got a new opening, which was cool, and it was awesome. It showed a ton. It was awesome. It showed a ton of different stuff, and I have a lot of notes just on that. So we'll come back. We'll totally come back to that. Then we get like Winterfell. We get the kid running up, and there's a lot of references to the pilot, which they told us.
Yes.
We get the little kid. He's climbing up and watching the army come, just like kind of Bran did. They're actually playing the exact same music as when Robert Baratheon came in. Yeah, it's the exact. I was like, that sounds like the Robert Baratheon music they played in episode 1. That kind of like dun 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 thing. And it was. I was like, that's it. It's the exact same music.
Nice.
Then they kind of greet. Well, then you have Arya standing there, and she sees Jon, and she like doesn't say anything, and then she sees the Hound, and she doesn't say anything. Then she sees Gendry, and there's a lot of Arya Gendry flirting in this episode, and it was awesome.
It was awesome. Yeah,
so,
we're going to talk more on that.
Yeah,
later.
we're going to get to that. You go back. Then Jon walks in. He sees Bran. He walks right up to him. He's like, he says something. I can't remember exactly what he says. He's like, "Look at you," and he's like, "You're almost a man." And it's very similar to when Robert says, "Look at you. You've gotten old," and then Ned says, "You've gotten fat."
Right.
So then I hope I had to make sure that these were all in order, because with my notes here.
Yeah.
Then we see Jon talking. Then we kind of get to this like a table, right? And they're talking. The talking kind of starts. We get the Arya, Sansa, Winterfell is yours, your grace thing. Brienne's there. We don't really see Brienne after that. And right out the gate, everyone kind of talks to the people at Winterfell, right? You have Sans, have Jon saying, "I gave up my crown." You have Daenerys talking, "We all need to fight together." Tyrion says that we're bringing the Lannister army. Everyone obviously gets ticked, but if we don't, we're gonna die.
Right.
Then I talked a little bit about Tyrion and Sansa's reunion, which is funny.
Yeah.
We'll break that down a little bit further. Bran and Tyrion have kind of a stare. Remember, they had kind of a moment that's kind of interesting. Then we get Jon standing at the weirwood tree, and then that's the Arya Jon reunion.
Oh yeah, that was so great.
It was so great. They talk about needle and how you've had to use it and where have you been. And she's like, around. I could have used it. She actually talks about how much she appreciates Sansa. And then he talks about now that she's with Daenerys, she's like, well, you're a Stark. Don't forget that. And something I'll talk about a lot. The word family was used a lot in this episode across the board.
Yes.
Okay, so then we go over and we see Cersei kind of staring at the Golden Company as they're arriving. That's a scene we saw over and over again. We see Euron and Asha on the boat. Euron's bringing 20,000 Golden Company.
Right.
Cersei and Euron have kind of a back and forth where she talks about if you want a whore, buy her. If you want a queen, earn her. That was pretty badass on Cersei's part.
Yeah.
Then we see Bronn. There's again some humor there. He's with 4 girls, and then Qyburn actually. I have Qyburn down as hilarious. Qyburn had some really funny moments where he talks. He talks about the girl, and he's like, "Oh, that girl will die of pox before the year's over," because he's just sleeping with 4 girls. He's like, "Which girl?"
Which one? Yeah.
And then he hands him a bolt, like a crossbow, and says the queen basically wants you to kill both of her brothers. Yeah. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. Euron sleeps with Cersei. There's a baby reference. Theon goes and saves Yara or Asha. Right. Yeah. No, it's Yara. Excuse me, Yara in the show, Asha in the books. That's kick ass. I was like, yeah, Theon's getting a kick ass moment. And then she tells Theon's like, I want to go fight for the Starks. He doesn't say that, but essentially that's what happens.
She knows.
She knows. And so it's like Theon's kind of repenting, because he went and took Winterfell and stuff like that. So that's kind of cool. The dragons, we talked a lot. We see the dragons. They talk about how there's not really a lot of food in the north. And so I think they're kind of nervous. And that could be the thing, right? Where it's like, okay, you have 2 dragons against 1. Yeah, but both these dragons may be a little sick, a little weak.
True.
And then
not comfortable in the north.
And then it just happens right out the gate. Jon is flying on a dragon.
Yeah.
Which I thought was funny. I thought they made a reference because isn't he in the movie How to Train Your Dragons or something like that?
Oh, really? Is he? I didn't know that.
Isn't he in How to Train Your Dragons? And he's like, well, how do I ride one? And she's like, hold on. I think he is. Because I feel like he's in one of the How to Train Your Dragons movies.
Okay.
I'll try to pull that up here. Or at least
you're good.
Yeah, or he's in it. Yeah, he is. I think. I don't know.
Okay.
Whatever. So then they kind of fly around, and that's kind of cool. We get that. We get Jon flying on a dragon, so we finally get that. Man, and then just talk about a heartbreaking moment. They fly to this waterfall, and it's really pretty. And Daenerys says, "Wow, I feel like we could stay here for 1,000 years." And it's so sad because it's an Ygritte reference, right? And it was just like, and then she says the same. He says the same thing about him being, it's cold up here for a Southern girl, which that's Ygritte said, it's you Southerners, and he's like, from the north, and that, so that was heartbreaking.
Right.
Then I have Arya plus Gendry. And there's a bunch of dragon glass, right, too? I forgot about that part. We see all this dragon glass. Gendry's there. He's forging dragon glass weapons. Arya plus the Hound, right? Kind of get that reunion.
That standoff,
Yeah, and then we get Arya plus Gendry, which I just have equals Bone Town. Yeah, A plus G.
Let's go, baby.
Yeah, it's happening. It's happening.
It's happening. Yeah.
We get Daenerys.
Thank the gods.
We get Daenerys talking to Sam about thank you for saving Jorah, and then realize she kind of he killed his dad and his brother. Oof, that's Sam gets really pissed about that too, which is
maybe he should be. He should be.
He should be. Yeah, and that's something Tyrion kind of tried to avoid her on, or tell him to avoid. So then it just happens. The Bran tells Sam, like
it's time.
It's time to tell him. And then he says, you're his brother, and he's like, I'm not his brother. And then like they don't say anything else, but Sam is was his brother on the Night's Watch. So
that's right.
Sam goes down and kind of talks to him in the crypts of Winterfell. About
it's a huge scene.
And I have a huge theory about the crypts of Winterfell. Now I think it's something that's clicked for me. We'll save that for the Friday episode.
Okay.
Or maybe it'll come out later. I don't know. We're just going.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Where was I? Oh yeah. So Sam tells him, and it's kind of like Jon doesn't really want to believe it. He's like Bran and I have figured it out. He kind of explains it, and he's like, "Are you saying?" He's like, "My father was the most honorable man ever." Talking about Ned Stark, and he's like, "No, he did it to protect you." So that didn't exactly go the way I thought it was going to go.
Sure,
but now I kind of see the arc they're going to go with. Again,
right.
we'll come back to that. Then we get a shot of Tormund, right, in the north, and you know what? That footage, it looks to me like the same footage of the Aftermath trailer. Where remember it was like this desolate kind of thing, and I was like, "Oh shit!" So
right.
You and I had predicted, right, that Tormund, we both kind of talked about, was going to be the first to go, and I was like, "This is it, man. We were so right."
Yeah.
And then we see Tormund and Beric, and they're walking around. Is it Umber? The Umbers?
House Umber, yeah, they're
House
up
Umber.
there.
That's what I thought. Yeah, and they're walking around. They come across each other. The Beric party and the last like 3 guys of the Night's Watch. And then they walk into that room where the Umber kid you saw very early on is like pinned up against the wall. And there's like, it looks like, was it like arms and legs of other people they've killed with that symbol the Night's Watch keep using. And then he comes back.
The Night King,
the Night King, yes. So he comes back to life, and Beric has to burn him, and that's and then there's one other thing happens, and that's Jaime rides in and has a stare down with Bran, which is very symbolic of the last thing. So and then the ending, they play, they always play different music after the end of the episode, but it's the same music that they play in the pilot episode. That it's a slower version of the standard theme. Yeah. So then they'd have a lot of those variants, but it is the same one. So okay. So that's just kind of a brief overview of what happened. Sir Ezra, I don't even know where do we go from here? Do we just kind of go point by point? I'm going to let you go.
Well, here's the thing. I think we just talk about like maybe some of our biggest takeaways and just see where that leads us, because I mean, you said it. Bonetown is in
Arya
the house.
Gendry, man.
I've wanted that for so long.
Yeah.
I've wanted a Stark and a Baratheon. You have a son. I have a daughter. It's like there it is, man. At first, when they first were talking, I was like, Arya's not going to go that way. And then she has that sly smile. They both talk about how good looking they are, and they are good looking. Let's go. Let's get a scene. I'm sorry, Shag. Let's go. Let's do it. So, that was super cool. I wanted that, and I'm glad that we have that going, because one of those two is gone. I mean, I have a feeling.
I don't know. Yeah, Arya, I think is more likely to go. She did ask Gendry to make her a special weapon, which is that like spear, which leads me to believe, okay, she's remember the waif scene, right? Like that's the route they're gonna go, which is super interesting. First, I gotta talk about the opening, man. I'm sorry, we gotta go back.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I was like really paying attention to the opening. It always just shows us where we're gonna go. So the opening,
you're talking about the
credits,
like where they
which was different. Cool. It was new. It was all entirely 100% new animation. So we see the wall broken down, which we had seen in an Instagram photo from the lady who plays Melisandre. That was like a teaser thing, which shouldn't have been surprising to anybody. They always show the wall, and so now we see the wall broken down. But dude, they showed the crypts of Winterfell as a place in the credits.
Did they really?
Yeah,
wow.
Man.
That's
what I found most interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Let me just say something here. I've been thinking about this a lot since we've been talking a lot about the crypts of Winterfell. I think I'm starting to think there might be something, and in the books they could totally shift it to a different area, which is the God's Eye, right? That's where the pact was happened. The Isle of Faces, all that stuff.
Sure.
I think that I'm starting to think the Night King, what he might be after. One of the things he might be after is, what if the first weirwood tree is the one at Winterfell?
Okay, interesting. Yeah,
because they talk about how the crypts of Winterfell are larger than Winterfell itself, right? Okay, well, part of Winterfell is that weirwood tree, right? That grove, and I'm wondering what if the weirwood tree, what would cause parts of the tomb to collapse underneath its roots, man. Roots are what grow deep. So I'm just starting to wonder if there's something.
That's a good call.
If there's something special about that weirwood tree, right?
Okay. Like that.
Like maybe it's
maybe what has it seen because Winterfell. Yeah,
right. Maybe it's the first one. Maybe it's the first tree. I don't know. I'm just starting to think there's something.
I could get on with that.
I'm just starting to think there's something special about specifically that weirwood. I don't know. That's just something something I've been thinking about, and the fact that they showed the crypts of Winterfell.
Well,
and
John's there too with Arya. Yeah,
and I think you and I still believe there's going to be a lot of difference between the book and the show. So I think in the books, it still may go. There still may be something to do with the Isle of Faces. I don't think that's happening at all in the show because they've never even really talked about it. So I think that that maybe it's a way for them to kind of use that as well. So anyway, and then they also showed in King's Landing, they showed a dragon bolt, right? In the credits, they showed the dragon bolt, and then it ends with the Iron Throne. So as we've been thinking, it's going to end in the Battle of King's Landing, possibly. The fact that they specifically showed the dragon bolt, I'm wondering, man. Maybe that's how they take down Viserion. The dragon that the Night King has now is they use a dragon bolt because they kind of talked about it in the last season, and then it didn't really do anything. But I think but then the Night King ends up taking it down. Bronn tried to use it, but it didn't kill him. So I'm wondering maybe that's the route they go.
Okay, gotcha. What is it that Arya is making again? Is it not like a spear, or is it not? I didn't quite see what it was she was making. Because I thought it had something to do with like a.
It's like a staff. I think it's like a staff that's going to have.
So not
blades,
not a bolt or something.
Blades. No, I think it's going to be a staff that has blades on the end. At least that's what we saw her using. There is a specific name for that type of a weapon. I can't remember what it is right now, but
okay. I was just thinking, like, when I first saw it, it looked like it had a device that was a projectile, and I was like,
well, maybe you could probably throw it.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, not a dragon killing device. I got you.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm trying to think of here.
Well, can I say something real quick? I can't believe you got that much out of the opening credits. First of all, because I was shaking during the opening credits.
Oh man, I was like, man, there's so much stuff here,
dude. And I have no computer, no nothing. I can't even go back and look. I literally just had to watch it, and I'm like sitting here. I'm wanting to go back and just inch by inch go through it, but that's cool. I'm glad you brought that up because it was so brand new and it was different, and the way they led up to the throne was significant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So. I'm trying to see here. There's a lot of dragon glass. Gendry forging a lot of dragon glass. Yes. You saw it. Yeah. You saw it a couple times and a couple times and a couple times. So that lets you know, hey, this war's coming.
Yeah. Yep. They're producing big time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I got to talk a little about the Tyrion Sansa reunion.
Dude,
it was great.
Did it not look like they wanted to get after it? I mean, I don't know.
I definitely think there's something there though, because I'm not saying like romantically, but I could see maybe it ending with them two together. Because she talks about how he's one of the smartest men, and he talks about how you've done really well for yourself. And they talk about the last time I saw you was Joffrey's wedding, and he was like, I thought that was hilarious. Where he was like, it's like rubbish affair or whatever he says, like terrible affair. She's like, parts of it were good, like that was hilarious.
Yeah. Right. And then he's like, and you just left me, there, cool.
Right, because I don't think that Sansa distrusts Tyrion. I think she actually was like, I think I always thought you were really, really smart, because Tyrion didn't ask to be married to her, and then he didn't like take advantage of her or anything. So I'm curious to see how that goes.
Hey, so on that point though, like something Jon said when he's talking to Arya is that like Sansa thinks she's smarter than everybody else.
Right.
And then you have, she's speaking to Tyrion, who we know as an audience is one of our smartest, characters, one of the most just the best players of the Game of Thrones. And it's like, why? I feel like they're setting us up for something there.
I think they are
big
too.
Time.
Yeah, and then that Arya Jon reunion.
Yeah.
Like
oh my gosh.
I mean, it was great. It was so good. The family, man, they're talking about family again.
Right.
The Arya,
don't forget.
Don't forget, which I thought was a huge huge thing. And then I think that's going to be a big.
Well, see, he's torn now. I mean, like, because once he learns about his true, like his family, like the Stark blood, he's always known about the Stark blood.
Right. He still has the Stark blood. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he still does. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying is he's always had an affection for that. Could his affection? I mean, it's just bonkers, because we'll talk about the Sam situation in a bit, and the struggles that he has with what wrongs were done to his family. And it's like, now wait a second, he has to also defend his aunt, I guess, right? His like the last of the Targaryens. I mean, like he's in a pickle now, man. It's just like mind.
Well, he is actually. I think it's going to be interesting, because Jon is now in a position where he's all alone, because you're gonna when Sansa and Arya find out that he's not a Targaryen, when he's a Targaryen, right? He's
sure
his last name isn't Jon, Stark or whatever. He's not their brother anymore. He's now their cousin.
Sure. Yeah.
That's gonna. I think that's where you're gonna have some tension, is between like Jon and them. Even maybe Jon and Arya now. I'm starting to think.
Yep.
And then when Daenerys, because he talked about it could be it's treason, right? To say that, I don't know that he's gonna want to tell Daenerys.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Because I think at first I was always like, man, that's going to cause Daenerys and him to kind of fall in love a little bit more. It may by the end of the season, but I'm starting to think now Daenerys may be kind of put off by that a little bit, because now it looks like his claim is stronger.
Okay, not only that would she be put off, but I think Jon is starting to now question, because he says to Sansa, she'll be a good queen. Right. And then he learns from Sam, she hasn't made the best choices, actually. Right. And he says, would you have done that? Would you? He goes, I wasn't king. And he goes, but you've spared people before. They were prisoners of war, and she killed him in cold blood. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sorry, she actually killed him in burning hot, dragon fire.
That's true. Like she did offer them a choice.
She did. That's true. And maybe that's the part that right. I mean, she told that to Sam too. But I think his father's one thing, but when it was his brother, that's the setup that just breaks him. It's like,
yeah,
he loved
that
his
was
brother.
too. Yeah, he hated his dad. Yeah, so, it's
tough.
Yeah, man, it's a lot of tension by the end of the episode.
See, that's the thing that I think is so significant about this episode, is that like now what we've always thought in our mind, like, okay, Jon, Dany together, good, solid. Not so much.
Yeah, and the last huge reunion we had, right, where characters coming back, was the Dragon Pit, and the whole thing felt tense, but it never really felt, with the exception of maybe like Clegane Bowl, it never felt like everyone's gonna kill each other. We thought maybe they will, there'll be a trap or something. But now it's like people are coming back together, and it's not good. Because you had like Bronn, and everyone was kind of like even Brienne and the Hound had kind of a happy moment where they talking about Arya, So, but yeah, this is different. It's the tension's starting.
Here's what I'm thinking. Would because the question is almost posed to Dany at the end. Would you lay your crown down? To better the realm and to protect everyone. If that brought everyone together, would you do it? Because you can pick it back up later, and when we both can pick up a crown later on. I mean, or just you pick it up, but like in good faith, show these people that it's not about who's queen.
Right.
You know, like
Right.
we are here. I'm allied with you. I don't know that she can do that.
Right.
And that's going to be a big test for her. And I think Jon might put that test. I think he might put the question to her. I think he might ask her, would you be willing to do that?
Right.
Gosh, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. So, I mean, we only have 5 episodes left.
I know, dude.
I know.
Oh,
Let's see here. Kyber baby reference, Cersei. Yeah. Do you think the baby, Cersei's baby, and that's gonna play a part at all? Because remember, she, you know, the Euron says, "I'm going to put a prince in you," and then he kind of rubs her belly, and that's that shot we saw of her in the trailer where she's kind of sitting there and she looks kind of happy and then kind of sad, and that's probably about all of the stuff she's thinking about Jaime. I mean, she's now theoretically had Jaime ordered to be killed, or you know, that could just be something where she thinks maybe he'll end up killing Tyrion for her,
Right.
Which that'd be a really intricate moment, you know, with Tyrion and Bronn and Jaime in their kind of history. So do you think? What do you think's gonna happen with that?
Dude, here's the thing. Do you think Bronn is actually going to be able to kill Tyrion? Come on, I don't. I don't either. I really don't. I feel like he would have fought for him against the Mountain, but it was just he was just being realistic. Like, sorry, man. Like, I can't. I feel like he gets up there with Dany and her dragons, and Tyrion's on that side of the fence. The odds are just as good, you know.
Yeah.
So he's not going to betray his friend there. I don't know. Even though I get what she was saying, is that like they betrayed you, they left you, that kind of stuff. But no, they're coming back.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely. Yeah.
They've rewarded him in some respects. So I don't know. I don't think he can do it. It would be heartbroken if he does.
Okay, what do you think? What do you think about the Euron, Theon, the Greyjoy stuff?
Well, I thought it was interesting that it's just such a weird thing. It's like this issue of dominance. You know, he frees her and she headbutts him, and I was just like, please headbutt her back. I know, even though it's his queen. You know what I'm saying? And he says that
Theon's looking
you're my
good,
queen.
man. I'm kind of digging the longer hair.
He is looking good, and I'm all for him. Embrace who you are. You know what? I was raised by the Starks. I owe them this, and she knows that. So we're cutting through all the political BS, and we're getting down to like hardcore just alliances. Where's your family? Where's your loyalty? You know, what relationships have you built along the way? And that's one that he built that he wants to kind of, you know, I guess. I don't know, rekindle. You know?
Yeah, we've got some characters who are trying to right the wrongs, you know, of their past, right? With Jaime and Theon. So you know, what is dead may never die. Okay.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude, that line. And but she's like, but hopefully, you know, I mean, because they're fighting the dead. You know what I mean? What's dead may never die. But
so now what I'm thinking is, you know, Yara's going to go back to the Iron Islands. I don't think I don't think she's showing up to the Battle of Winterfell.
No,
I do think she will show up at the Battle of King's Landing, which, you know, we know the Battle of Winterfell is a thing, right? We don't know about the Battle of King's Landing. There's been no trailers, nothing that's actually going to happen. But I mean, I think it's you and I both obviously think 100% that it's happening. So
yeah, we do. And here's the thing. What I think with Yara is like, it's ironic that the Iron Islands would be a safe like retreat. Like you could go there. So I believe she's sending Theon one. You know, it's a type of healing for him. He gets to go back and help and right that wrong and take a message with you for me. In that, like, the Iron Islands, you know, are a place where if you need to regather your strength, here we are. And that is just so different from their identity that I don't know. It's
what do you think about the
bizarre?
What do you think about the 20,000 Golden Company?
Oh man, dude, that's a big. I mean, so here's the thing. I mean, at the very beginning, when Cersei has heard that the army of the dead has broken through the wall, she says, "Good,
yeah,
good." She is glad, and so, you know, her thing is just like, I don't care, like what I need an army and a force here. They can come as far. Like, we'll beat them back. We'll destroy them. No big deal. Hopefully those two forces fight, and, you know, whoever wins, cool. Like if okay, let's put it like this: if Jon and Dany win, you know, they're going to suffer heavy losses. she's well fortified to knock them out. If the Night King wins, he's suffering some losses, but she doesn't understand the Night King, you know?
Right, she doesn't.
Because like those losses would be gains. Like, I mean, he would lose them, but then he would also, gain an army. It's crazy to think about.
She doesn't get it. She doesn't get it.
She doesn't get that part, but yeah, because she's ready to just take them out. She wants them to do the heavy lifting, and then she's gonna rule. I mean.
Okay, let me look here. Let me look at.
Hey, let me ask you a question real quick. When Sansa's having that exchange with Tyrion about like, is he foolish in believing his sister, believing that she's earnest about sending the Lannister army, and because she has a child, you know what I mean? Like, we can clearly see that she's not earnest about it, right?
Right.
And that they have a different agenda, and only Jaime is there. So we're left at like this point where we don't know the forces that he brings. We do see him fight later, but it's like, are we going to have a skirmish? Is there something else going on? Is there an agenda?
Right.
With some of the commanders there? It's bizarre, but Sansa sees that because she knows the treachery.
It's all gonna change. I think, man, I don't really want to start speculating in the next episode. Just we briefly saw. I watched it once. I mean, it was 30 seconds, and I was like so over the hype. But of what happens in the next episode, and I think the next episode is going to end with like them getting ready, and then like we just see the Night King. Like remember the shot in the teaser where the foot gets put down. Yeah, I think that's the end of the episode. All right.
Okay.
All right. Next episode 3, battles go.
Battle.
Yeah, sure. And so it's just like, okay, it's like it's almost like, okay, they're at the gate, right? Like it's like basically you kick in the door, and then that's the end of the episode. So I think that the next episode is going to be a lot of bickering, and then that bickering's going to they're going to be like trying to figure it all out, and then oh shit, it's here. We got to get ready. We ain't got time to bicker anymore. So I think a lot of that is gonna play a big part in the next episode.
Sure.
And. Yeah, I mean that's kind of what Cersei wants, I think that's probably. I don't even know that Sansa sees that far with like the Night King, because a lot of the North people.
No, she doesn't.
A lot of the North people just have those stories. They don't. The Wildlings know.
Right.
Like Tyrion and some of the other guys who went south and Daenerys know. But like,
sure,
I don't know how much how much Sansa believes of it.
She's in denial. Arya doesn't even quite know, and that's why they're still bickering about this crown. That's why you even have people like Varys.
Jon had to remind them where he's like, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, yeah, because they're trying. Remember, they're on the top. They're looking down at Jon and Dany, thinking that would be a good union. That would heal this rift right now, and maybe they're right. But like to get everybody united beforehand. But sure as hell, man, as soon as you see those others in whites, like, I mean, that'll unite them quicker than you'll believe. And that's what we saw in their faces during the trailer. Arya she is terrified. Varys is down there with everybody, losing probably his ever-living mind. And so, that's going to unite them. But you're right. I think they're going to try for more of this Game of Thrones crap next episode, and it just doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It's a Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah, it is. One character we didn't see. So we saw we saw Grey Worm, we saw Missandei, just kind of riding in.
Yeah.
One character I can think of who we haven't seen yet is Melisandre.
Right. Yep. I know. We have no clue what's going on with her. Nothing.
But everybody else, we saw Jorah for a second. You see Brienne and I think Pod, but we don't get any dialogue from them. But that's really like the one kind of character.
Dude, here's my thing: is she peering into the flames? Is she birthing some shadow baby? What is she doing?
What is she up to?
You know what I'm saying? Like,
do you think we'll see her next episode?
I thought you almost were going to say, "Do you think we'll see her naked?" That was. I'm sorry. I thought that's what you.
Well, we probably will. Given her track record.
I was like, dang it. The actress is so cool. She's like, I'm just hoping I don't have to be naked anymore.
Yeah. She's
funny. But no, I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm baffled. She's got to show up. I mean, like maybe they fail, and they lose, and it's sort of like, they have to have Melisandre to kind of help them, with some of this stuff, and they've got to talk to, Bran and her have to kind of combine their knowledge and tactics to win this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I feel like that could
okay,
be a
let's
thing.
talk about Jon riding the dragon. What did you think?
Yeah. I mean, I thought that was good. I thought you kind of have to. We've already seen him connect with the dragons, so that's cool. We know as a Targaryen, he has that blood. We understand that he can become a dragon rider. We talked about just in some of the readings we've done. You and I and the community know that
it's really difficult.
It is, but it's difficult, but it can happen. I mean, you had some of those bastards, some of those, back in the day who were able to, like Nettles and some of the other characters from the books who were able to become dragon riders fairly quickly. And so I wasn't too surprised by that, but it's good to see him struggle a little bit.
Yeah, I did. I don't want to say it wasn't. It wasn't the moment I thought it would be, which leads me to believe that they're saving. So two of the moments that we had happen today. The Jon Snow finding out about his parentage and the riding the dragon, I did not expect those episode 1. I didn't. I did not at all expect those episode 1 or that. I mean, they weren't bad. I actually thought they were cool. It was just not what I expected. I expected both of them to happen roughly around the same time, and kind of a more badass moment. Jon riding the dragon was actually kind of a comedic moment, right, where he's kind of flying. It's like, whoa, this is crazy.
Right.
And it was still super cool. I was actually really surprised, and I was actually like, oh, this is awesome. It was just not how I expected it.
Well, and I kind of think that now seeing what they've done, that if the reason they did that is maybe to let Jon process this, and then there's going to be another proclamation for everyone, and he's already processed it and had time to think about it, which is maybe more realistic, so he can make some determination. And then he's just faced with those heavy decisions about ruling. What would he have done in Daenerys' shoes? So I don't know. That's you're right. I mean, it was interesting, but I can see there's going to be huge moments later on with the whole Rhaegar Lyanna situation, implications for, as you said, Sansa, Arya, uniting the North, or is he going to have to confront Daenerys? It's still all up in the air, and it's still a lot of tension, of tension.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm trying to think here. I'm looking down here. Okay, let's talk about let's go ahead and talk about kind of Jon, how he finds out about his parentage.
Sure.
I think is kind of the biggest part of the episode. I definitely was not expecting that episode 1 at all. I see the route they're going with now. I don't think he believes it, to be honest. I just don't think he believes Sam. I think it's gonna be one of those things where he has to be told again, and then he kind of believes it a little bit more. I think that's how it's gonna go.
He may need some super, as you said, more evidence or someone else saying it, or Bran showing him something, warging into something. Another thing, this isn't outside of what we saw. Emilia Clarke talked about taking a really significant scroll, one of the things that she stole from the set, which was cool. I saw this in an interview, and I'm like, so maybe there's some article or there's some piece of parchment that gives more to the story, or something in Lyanna's tomb. You know what I'm saying? We've talked about that to identify, or help with that story, or connect Jon to her a little bit more. I don't know. You know, I mean, so it's tough. That's going to be. Why would he believe him? You know what I mean? Why would his father do that? But then when Sam has a good point, he did it to protect you. He made a promise, and that makes sense to Jon, and it makes sense to all of us because we know how honorable he was, and that if he made that promise, he would do anything he could, including lying to Jon or deceiving him for years.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, I'm still just kind of blown away because I thought both moments, the dragon riding a dragon and this, would happen in sort of this epic fashion, this great kind of realization. And it was just wow, they're going with it. And maybe a lot of it's probably just hype. Because we watched this. It's been 2 years, since we were just hype. Oh my god! I was like, oh my god, they're doing this. And so I need to kind of watch the episode again. And it's another thing too. Is we don't know the rest of the story, and so it may actually end up being I think it was awesome. But you need to see it in full context of the story, not just, oh my God, we just watched this one episode. You know, what kind of happened.
Well, yeah, for sure. I also think they're kind of easing us back in. Like, I felt like everyone was on the, I mean, I don't know. Hopefully everyone was like me. I'm on the edge of my seat for the Tormund situation, Theon and Yara, even Cersei and Euron. I thought he's a dead man for a second. I was like,
I thought he was going to die. I thought he was going to die like episode, like right there. Like,
Me too.
So here's a question for you. So now, like, we still got to talk about the Tormund stuff.
Okay.
But now that I've seen some more of this unfold, right? Because we're nearing essentially the end of the story. I'm thinking 0% that's the way that happens in the books. Like 0% that's the way Jon finds out about his parentage in the books.
Oh yeah, no.
I think it's going to be entirely different.
Yeah. It will be. It absolutely will. There's a reason Howland Reed hasn't showed up. I mean, to be honest with you, when I saw Jaime, I didn't know it was Jaime at the time riding into Winterfell.
Yeah, I was like, this is either Melisandre.
Who the hell is this?
Well, I was like, this is either Melisandre or Jaime. Was my thoughts.
Okay.
Because
I was hoping
they
would just drop a huge
it. They
bombshell
teased it a little bit because Sam asks Bran, like, what are you doing out here? And he's like, I'm waiting for someone.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, it's probably Jaime. And
didn't he say he was waiting for an old friend?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, so Bran, he's different. I mean, there's something else. He is many. I feel like he's more than just Bran. He's many different things. I don't know. I can't quite.
Like, I mean, robotic is kind of the word. I mean, it doesn't really fit in this type of a context, but that's kind of how I see him.
Yeah. So that was really, really interesting. I mean, it was just. Yeah. First of all, is he sitting out there the whole time?
He might be, man. He might not get cold or anything. I don't know.
Who knows, man? I mean, if you can survive in a tree, the other three-eyed raven was surviving in the weirwood. I mean, my gosh.
Yeah.
He's got powers. He does. We got to remember that.
Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about the end of the episode, the kind of Tormund House Umber situation.
Yeah. Okay. So my big question, I'd love to hear from the listeners. What is up with the symbols? Is there a sigil out there or something like what's going on? With that
because
we've
seen it over and over again. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, is there something sacred to that? Is there like does that help identify the Night King in some way? Mm-hmm. Is that like an old house sigil or something? I don't know.
Right.
Like why that pattern? I guess is what I'm trying to figure out.
Because we've seen it. We've seen it multiple times. We see it. I think you see it in episode 1. Like they zoom out and they show that the White Walkers when they killed the Night's Watch. The Night's Watch guys, and then Mance Rayder says like always the artists, and then we see symbols like that on Dragonstone in the cave. So
in the cave. Also, you saw that when in the creation of the Night King when they zoom out and the children have created him. It's kind of that symbols
when he turns one of Craster's kids, you see that as well.
Yeah. So I don't know if there's some just magic in that array or if it's just some. I actually think maybe in mockery of the children, he's possibly using something against them to kind of let everybody know it's his way of communicating. Right. I'm here, and this is what was done to me. And I'm going to flip this on its head. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. It was really neat. I mean, so. God, and you know what? We missed one other thing, too. What we didn't miss, but like talking about House Umber going to get their troops, young Lord Umber goes up there, and he's going in the wrong direction. That's tough. He had to ride fast to get there, and he can't. So now the other one was just to go back real quick, and then we'll come back to Umber. House Glover. Yeah. Where the heck are they? Mm-hmm. I mean, my God.
They're not coming back, man.
No, and that was the whole thing, is that they swore their allegiance to you, to the King in the North.
Right, and if you're no longer the King in the North, then
right, exactly. So here's the thing, I that's the theme, is like you guys don't get it, okay? You don't get it. Right. Winter is here. I love it. I love what they're doing because as the audience, we're sitting here like, this is you guys. I mean, we start to kind of like hate everybody else because we're like you join up, but it makes sense. It does make sense that like they don't know what's coming, and so that's that dramatic irony, that suspense that's just building and building and building. So, epic. Okay, back to House Umber though. I mean, as you said, wrecked, Just burn every body you can find in there. By the way, they didn't find any bodies, right, at first, because they're all a part of the Night King's army now,
right?
So, and dude, by the way, when Tormund's turned and I saw out of the corner of my eye those eyes light up, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, I know. That was definitely a freaky moment. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. So yeah, it was cool. So they burn him, and how do they get back? See, that was the big question that Ed was kind of asking, like, how do they take the Night's Watch,
right?
And what they have, their small band of heroes,
right? And they're like, well, we got to ride faster,
Yeah, so they're going to have to get on horses and beat, because we see Beric Dondarrion in the trailer. We see him there,
right?
At the
and
Battle
so
of Winterfell.
in the teaser trailer for next episode, we do see that where Tormund's in Winterfell talking to. He's like, how many do they have? I think is what he says, something like that, and it's very quick. So clearly, so they make it, obviously, because we didn't see that. I was like, yep, we didn't see Tormund in any of the pre-footage. This is it. This is where he dies. So
sure,
yeah,
yep. I mean, that's funny. They know we're super analyzing it. They're just like, we're going to throw you guys off here, and
so
that was what they wanted to build up.
Brienne Tormund could still happen.
Still on Bonetown's still happening. Oh man, yeah. I don't know. I'm now. I really don't know. Tormund might make it to the end. We had him going out.
He might
in the first episode. He actually. I feel like he maybe needs to, because he's the leader of the wildlings.
Right.
Now that I think about it, it's like, why wouldn't he make it? You know what I mean?
Right.
He's that symbol. He symbolically represents the wildlings.
Yeah. So okay. Question for you here, Sir Ezra. And then we got to talk about Jaime Bran at the end.
Sure.
How I don't. When I'm thinking about this, I'm like, none of this is happening in the books.
Hell no.
I feel like we are so far away from what Gur's plan is for the books. Like, I'm like, none of this is happening. Is that how you feel, or do you? I don't know.
I kind of feel like that. I feel like there are definitely elements there, but no. I mean, the person who's telling the story and who reveals Jon's parentage is Howland Reed, point blank, 100%. And that's, think about how much more impactful it is when someone who can say, I was there.
Right.
I heard it. I know what went down, and I can tell it to you. That's going to mean more to Jon than anything, versus somebody who felt it through a weirwood tree or saw it through a weirwood tree, and Sam who saw an annulment and a marriage to Lyanna. So what? How does that tie Jon to Lyanna? Just because Bran says so still. Right. So they're trying to say that, like, well, Bran saw it, and Sam sees the annulment to Elia Martell, but how does that connect? The only thing that connects Jon to Lyanna is what Bran saw. So Bran is the only one who really can make that connection. And actually, Bran is the one who kind of enlightens Sam, and then says, "Sam, you've got to tell him."
Right. Okay. So let's talk.
That's a tough sell.
Okay. So let's talk about Jaime Bran, and then I want to talk about the things that we didn't see in this episode. So the Jaime Bran reunion I thought is really cool. I don't really know what, other than kind of like, Bran being like, I don't really care anymore, is probably the best thing that ever happened to me. Like, I don't like it. All Jaime did was push him out a window. So I don't really know, other than that, like, what their connection is.
No, I mean, here's the thing. I think what I kind of hear Jaime saying is, I'm glad you survived. Like, I didn't want to, I'm not sorry for what I did, but at the same time, glad you made it. You know what I mean? Like, that's sort of the, I don't know. I don't know what else he could say to him. Like, oh, I'm super sorry. No, he's not going to say that. Even though he has these redeeming qualities are coming out in him, I feel like he's just going to say to him, I did what I had to do in the moment. And Bran is also.
I actually think Jaime could show up, and then that's really, I think. Well, he did show up, but I think Jaime showing up. What I think is going to happen is, you're going to have Jaime show up, and they're going to be like, it's the Kingslayer, he's the reason Ned Stark got imprisoned, and like, well, I mean, he's not, but he fought Ned Stark and stabbed him and all this stuff, and he killed whatever, and then obviously in the teaser for the next episode, we see him kind of almost standing trial with Daenerys, right?
Yeah.
And I think the person who's going to stick up for him is Bran.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think
so.
that's that connection is that Bran, who doesn't really care anymore, because obviously everyone's going to want to kill him because he's Bran's a cripple and he killed the Mad King, and nobody ever really liked him up there.
Well, yeah.
Robb Stark fought against him, and all this. I think you could even have Brienne maybe stick up for him, and so I think that's gonna be the thing. That's my only guess is that's where that Bran connection comes in, is that he sticks up for Jaime.
One thing that I think could happen, Varys was also still the master of whisperers, correct? During the time of the Mad King. We know that from the books. So perhaps he could validate some of what Jaime or maybe Bran or Brienne, tell on his behalf that he saved the King's Landing by, stopping the Night King from literally blowing up the entire city. He saved millions.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's got to count for something. So I feel like that's going to come up. And then Varys could also, the Mad King, I hate to say this, Your Grace, but your father was mad.
Yeah, he was a dick. Like there's just no other way around.
Yeah, I mean, your own brother Rhaegar was actually, the tourney of Harrenhal is all a farce. He's actually plotting to, put his dad aside. He's lost his mind. So it's time to bring a new order to the realm, and it just didn't work. So
yeah. Okay, hey man. All right, let's talk about the things we didn't see. So we did not see Melisandre.
Right, didn't see her. Yep.
When do you think she shows up? Do you think we see her next episode, or do you think it's like during the Battle of Winterfell, maybe?
Nope. I actually think we are going to see her after the Battle of Winterfell, when they've been somewhat like they're in tatters and they're running, and you're going to need Melisandre.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like right now Davos would just. She's a witch. She's evil.
What I can see is if Bran dies, then I think she's the true teller of Azor Ahai. There was nothing about that.
No.
And so, how do we actually defeat the Night King? Because right now they're like dragon glass is the answer, and dragons, right? Because Jon's like, well, I brought 2 dragons. I brought an armies and I brought a dragon. Like we need those. And I think maybe you get to. Those armies and dragons might be gone, and it's like, how do we defeat him? Well, it turns out it's actually something older and more sacred. It's magic that's gonna defeat him.
Yeah.
Not
it's Heartsbane. Yeah,
absolutely. And then maybe that causes like a riff, because Melisandre shows up and she's telling Daenerys that Jon is, the prince who's promised, and he's Azor Ahai, and she thinks it's like, oh well, it's blood magic, and there's obviously, which killed, Khal Drogo, and all that stuff.
That's right. Yeah.
So yeah,
that could get tense. I see what you're saying. That would really be another layer and dynamic to, how do we kill the Night King? I think that's just all going to happen after they've tried everything. They've exhausted their resources, didn't work. So. Now we're retreating further south, and Melisandre is further south. So I feel like we're gonna encounter her, after that Battle of Winterfell. But I could be, just speculating. So,
yeah. So, all right, man. That's kind of it. That's kind of our breakdown. Obviously, we're gonna be doing like some sort of follow-up Friday type episode. Please send us send us your ravens so we can continue. Going throughout these seasons. The final season, man. I'm really excited to be going along with this. All of our loyal listeners, we really appreciate it. Everyone who supports us just by listening or anything.
Also, I just wanted to do a quick shout out. I mean, all of our new listeners. We know that we have
absolutely
a lot of new listeners just from last week with the predictions episode, and then this recap. Hopefully, you guys will stick around and send your theories. Ask anybody in our Facebook group. We will read those. We have follow-up Friday. You can send those to btkcast@gmail.com. We will read your theories, your predictions for the next episode, and incorporate that. Just make sure you leave your name, because we want to give you a shout-out, and we're just all about community.
Absolutely.
Here at Absolutely. You do have to bend the knee, though.
Yeah, you do. You do have to bend the knee. I also just want to say, thank you all literally so much for the support you guys have given us. We posted today. We were doing some research on our numbers, and it's like tripled. It's like it's quite literally mind-boggling. We were actually the #1 ranked episode on iTunes literature. which is insane. That is absolutely
huge.
Never ever. I mean, Sir Ezra and I literally
Didn't think, no.
had these kind of conversations years ago. Like when we were at the gym working on a punching bag, you know what I mean? And so, it's the fact that it's gotten this big is absolutely amazing. And everyone who supports us by listening or liking us on Facebook or leaving us a comment on iTunes, or especially all of our patrons, our loyal bannermen, we seriously, very sincerely appreciate it. And I look forward to giving you guys as much content as we absolutely can. But I think this is kind of a good place to sign off. We will be back Friday for Fallout Friday. We're going to talk theories. Send us your Ravens. We're going to be doing some kind of predictions for the next episode. What did you guys think? I would love to also just get some kind of thoughts on just what you thought of the episode. Was it what you expected? Doesn't have to be a big, huge, manifesto level theory. It can just be kind of quick, like, hey, what did you think of the episode? I'd love to read some of those on this Friday. So, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. Yep. All right. Awesome. Hey.
Awesome.
Thanks again. And Sir Matt, close us out.
All right. Well, we will see you this Friday. And in the words of House Greyjoy, because I feel it is quite fitting once again, what's dead may never